From the Massachusetts Broadcasters Station of the Year, this is Western Mass News at 6 p.m.
It is the first warning weather day. Good evening, everyone. Thursday evening, and thank you for joining us for Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Jordyn Jagalinzer. We've been keeping an eye on the stormy weather. Let's turn things over to meteorologist Jacob Wycoff for the latest. Jacob, seeing some improvements out there?
Absolutely, yeah. The bulk of the storms to our south now. We're actually seeing some brightening of the skies, although we will stay overcast, definitely a little bit brighter than when we had the bulk of the rain for us. That was between about 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock before we started to clear things out. Still a mess along the Connecticut shoreline, Long Island, the Long Island Sound, where they have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, even into lower Fairfield County, still having a severe thunderstorm warning. The bulk of our system arriving in the middle of the afternoon, but because of the warm front and the location of the warm front, the severe threat was to our south. Futurecast suggests maybe a couple of sprinkles this evening. I think we're pretty much done. We're going to clear things out heading into Friday, a really nice Friday looking ahead. So not much brightening of the sky on our Springfield Skycam, although you do see a reflection of the sun in the Connecticut River. So maybe some glimpses of some sunshine in some places. We're at 69 for an afternoon high. We've also seen the humidity rising. We're actually going to be lower with that humidity value heading into tomorrow. Tonight, falling into the upper 50s and low 60s, the storms have ended. We're going to start clearing out as we get towards daybreak, and by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, a lot of sunshine back into the middle 80s. A lot to talk about in the extended forecast, including the impacts from Tropical Storm Laura arriving in our neighborhood. That's ahead in just a few minutes, guys.
Jacob, thanks. Impacted by the pandemic, UMass Amherst furloughing 850 employees come September 13th. This in the wake of what the school's chancellor calls one of the greatest financial challenges in their entire 157-year history.
School officials say it's mostly dining and custodial employees who will be affected. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live with the details. Audrey?
Right now, the school is projecting nearly a $169 million operating loss. However, the union representing the furloughed employees claims that both the Commonwealth and the UMass system are sitting on, quote, mountains of cash and refusing to help them.
We don't want to lay the people off permanently, but we need to take action given the size of the budget deficit.
850 UMass Amherst employees, most of them full-time, will be placed on extended furlough effective September 13th. Campus spokesperson Ed Blagazewski says others will have hours cut, all in an effort to alleviate a near $169 million operating loss caused by COVID-19. In correspondence obtained by Western Mass News, the president of AFSCME Local 1776 says furloughs will affect roughly 780 of their members. The union represents dining, residence hall, and custodial staff. Leanne Robinson said in part, quote, despite efforts of all the UMass unions to negotiate alternative cost-saving measures, the university refused to consider anything other than furloughing people off. Blagazewski tells Western Mass News they cannot pay people for work that doesn't exist.
If there is a greatly reduced number of students, we're not feeding as many students. If we're not housing many students, we don't have the jobs related to supporting those students.
In the letter to union members, Robinson also said, quote, we were told that if we did not accept temporary furloughs, our members would be laid off and lose all benefits. Under the extended furlough, Blagazewski says employees will be able to keep their health insurance, and it prevents a more permanent staff reduction from being made in case the COVID-19 pandemic improves.
We wanted to do an extended furlough and get through this semester with the hope that we'll have jobs for people if things improve in the spring.
Blagazewski says the furloughs follow an early retirement program, cuts to discretionary spending, and a hiring freeze. And the workforce is only going to shrink further in coming weeks. UMass Amherst Chancellor Kumble Subbaswamy wrote in a statement that permanent layoffs can be expected, saying they'll, in part, quote, likely impact approximately 450 additional campus employees.
Being in this position is not what anybody wanted.
Now, even with this furlough action, UMass employees say that they still have a more than $20 million gap in their budget. Now, when the campus does resume normal operation, Blagozewski tells me they'll have a smooth rehiring process for any employees who wish to come back. Reporting live, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
You guys are green today on COVID. You're green. Now, honestly, that does not happen unless you have a community that's rowing in the same direction, where everybody's doing the things they need to do to keep people safe.
Governor Charlie Baker today in Springfield. You heard him congratulating the city on keeping COVID-19 case numbers down. On Wednesday, the state released its latest community numbers. The map shows there are currently no high-risk communities here in Western Mass, and it shows a positive move for Springfield, which was moved into green. And Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno echoes the governor's message, saying this is fantastic news for the city.
Great news indeed. And here's a look at today's number of COVID-19 cases. So far, the state reports 365 new cases for a total number of 117,450 in the Bay State. There are sadly 20 more deaths being reported today, bringing the statewide death toll to 8,775.
Western Mass News is your school authority. Questions about how in-person learning will play out during the pandemic are starting to get answered as students start to get back to school.
Today marked day 4 of classes at St. Stan's in Chicopee. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis checked in to see how everyone is adapting.
6-foot social distancing signs, mandatory face coverings, and required hand washing. The new normal for students, teachers, and staff at St. Stanislaus School in Chicopee.
As people, as human beings, we know social relationships so important. Trying to remotely teach, you lost that connection with the children as well as with the staff. So we felt if we could safely set the building up, it was the best thing to do.
So far, so good since starting the new school year with in-person learning on Monday, as seen in these photos shared with Western Mass News. A few changes had to be made. The Catholic school is trying to keep as many folks outside the building as possible. Students are in classrooms where their desks are socially distanced, and they stay there in the same room all day long. The teachers are the ones switching classes.
I'm very glad that I went easy on students who used to forget their supplies when they move from room to room, because now I'm in that boat. And so I ask for their grace as I move from room to room if I need to get a pen or a piece of paper to back them up.
The Catholic school put up these words on this sign right here: "Welcome back, we missed you." Now, one parent I spoke to says her son missed interacting with his teachers and friends face to face on a daily basis.
My son is truly a social beast, and he needs this structure more than anything. He does require it. I think he's healthier with scheduling and some boundaries.
Maureen Kerr says she feels as though her son has less of a risk of getting coronavirus at school than anywhere else.
I don't find it any different than being anywhere else. I think in here he's safer than he would be at the grocery store or at the mall or on vacation.
In Chicopee, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Sister Hire adds if a group of students or a classroom needs to quarantine due to COVID-19, they have the resources to do so. And if Governor Charlie Baker makes the order for all public schools to go back to remote learning, they will follow his directive. Western Mass News is your school authority, and we'll work to answer your questions and concerns about the upcoming school year. Call our newsroom at 413-846-0200 or email us schoolauthority@westernmassnews.com.
Now at 6, Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno paying tribute today to former Mayor William Sullivan, who recently passed away. Sullivan served as Springfield Mayor from 1973 to 1977. Sarno telling Western Mass News the former mayor provided him with some wisdom that he remembers to this day.
You got to have one thing, whether you're mayor in 1856, 1852, or now: passion. Passion. He always had that passion. He always said to me, if you don't have that passion, Dominic, take the keys, put them on the desk and walk out that door.
Mayor Sarno went on to say that Sullivan was a big proponent of the downtown area of Springfield, telling Western Mass News he was instrumental in getting the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame into its current location.
Some good news for moviegoers. The Regal Cinemas movie theater at MGM Springfield will reopen for business starting tomorrow, just in time for the weekend. The theater will be operating with increased health and safety measures amid the coronavirus pandemic. Newly released movies as well as a $5 classic movie will be available.
Good deal. Should go.